Imagine waking up in a small Midwestern town, where silence covers the streets like a blanket, and every house looks the same. But on June 10, 1912, in Villisca, Iowa, one house on 5008 East 2nd Street would become forever cursed. Inside, 8 people, 6 of them children, lay bludgeoned to death, their skulls crushed with the blunt end of an axe. To this day, no one knows who swung the weapon, or why. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murders, America's bloodiest unsolved cold case. The morning after the murders, a neighbor named Mary Peckham grew concerned. The Moore family, who lived in the house, hadn't been seen all day. She called Ross Moore, Josiah Moore's brother, who entered the home through the back door. What he saw would scar him for life. Every curtain in the house was drawn. Clothes covered the mirrors. The air was heavy, rancid, as if the house itself was trying to suffocate anyone who entered. In the upstairs bedroom lay Josiah and his wife, Sarah, their faces brutally unrecognizable, blood splattered across the walls. An axe, still dripping with gore, leaned against the wall, almost proudly displayed. In the other rooms, the 4 Moore children, still in their beds, still in their pajamas, but lifeless. And in the guest room, 2 visiting girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger. The youngest just 8 years old. 8 victims. 1 house. No mercy. The crime scene itself was like something from a nightmare, but here's where it gets darker. Details that many don't know. Every mirror and reflective surface in the house was covered. Some say it was to prevent the killer from seeing his own reflection. Others whisper it was an old superstition, that covering mirrors kept the souls of the dead from becoming trapped. Each victim's face was covered with sheets or clothing. Psychologists believe killers do this out of shame or guilt, but others see it as ritual, as if the murderer was performing a twisted ceremony. The axe was left in plain sight. Most killers would flee and hide the weapon. But here, the murderer displayed it, almost daring the town to remember. One victim, Lena Stillinger, had injuries suggesting she awoke during the attack. Some reports indicate defensive wounds, and her nightgown was pulled up. Was this simply a random killing? Or did something more sinister happen in that room? Food was left on the kitchen table, half-eaten, untouched, as if the killer sat and waited, or even dined with the dead. The Villisca murders shocked the nation. But despite endless investigations, no one was ever convicted. Still, there were suspects, each darker than the last. Frank F. Jones, a local businessman and state senator. Josiah Moore had once worked for him but left to start his own business. Jones allegedly resented him for stealing clients, and for rumors Josiah had an affair with Jones's daughter-in-law. Did politics and pride turn to murder? Reverend George Kelly, an eccentric traveling preacher who attended the church service the Moores went to the night before the killings. He was described as unbalanced and had a disturbing history of sexual deviance. Kelly confessed to the murders, but later recanted. Many believe his confession was forced. William Mansfield, a suspected serial killer who murdered his wife, infant, and in-laws with an axe 2 years later. His killings were strikingly similar. Was Villisca his first bloodbath? Henry Lee Moore, an axe murderer, no relation to the family, who killed his mother and grandmother the same year. Some investigators tried to tie him to the Villisca murders, but nothing was proven. An unknown drifter. In 1912, transient workers often rode trains through Iowa. Some believe a nameless drifter slipped into Villisca, slaughtered the family, and vanished forever into the rails. The case has spawned countless theories, some logical, others deeply disturbing. A cult ritual, the covered mirrors, the arranged bodies, and the sheer brutality led some to whisper about satanic cults. Small towns in early 1900s America often feared secret societies. Was this a blood sacrifice? A serial killer on the loose? Around that time, other axe murders occurred in the Midwest, some almost identical to Villisca. The theory suggests a wandering serial killer was responsible, leaving behind a trail of blood across states. A personal vendetta. Many believe Josiah was the true target. His head was hit more than any other victim. But if this was revenge, why kill everyone, including innocent children? The paranormal shadow. Here's something chilling most people don't know. Later visitors and investigators have reported whispers, children's laughter, and cold touches inside the house. Some say the killer was influenced by something darker, that the axe itself became a vessel of evil. The murders destroyed the Moore family, haunted the town, and spread fear across the nation. The house sat in silence for decades, until it was eventually restored. Today, you can visit the Villisca Axe Murder House. People who stay overnight report terrifying experiences, flashlights turning off by themselves, children's voices giggling in the dark, doors opening and slamming shut, guests waking with bruises, scratches, or the sensation of hands pressing down on them. In one infamous case, in 2014, a paranormal investigator stabbed himself in the chest inside the house. He lived, but no one could explain why he suddenly tried to kill himself. Over a century later, the Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved. 8 innocent lives taken, and the killer never faced justice. But perhaps the most chilling part isn't just the crime itself. It's the feeling that in that house, on that night, something beyond human walked through those halls. So I'll leave you with this thought. If evil can slip silently into a small town in Iowa, who's to say it can't be lurking right outside your window tonight? If this story left you unsettled, you're not alone. Darkness hides in history, and in places much closer than you think. Subscribe to Truth is Terror. For more real-life cases, where crime and the paranormal collide, and let me know in the comments. Do you think the Villisca Axe murders were the work of a human, or something far darker? Until next time, sleep well.